Jin-ho was not the kind of man who believed in fate. As a flight attendant, he had seen too many faces, too many fleeting connections that vanished the moment the plane landed. But this particular flight from Incheon to New York was about to change everything. Among the passengers was Amara, a young black woman with striking eyes and a gentle aura. She was traveling alone, headphones in, clutching her book like it was her shield. What no one knew, not even Jin-ho, was that Amara had a rare psychological and physical condition. Since her teenage years, she had developed a severe aversion and allergic reaction to men. A racing heartbeat, difficulty breathing, and skin rashes if they came too close. It made her avoid relationships, social gatherings, and love itself. She had resigned herself to a life without romance. Midway through the flight, turbulence struck. Food trays wobbled, passengers screamed softly, and Jin-ho rushed down the aisle to calm them. Just as he leaned over Amara's seat to check on her, the plane jolted violently. He lost his balance, his lips brushing against hers in a clumsy, accidental kiss. Gasps erupted from nearby passengers. Jin-ho's eyes widened in horror. I'm so sorry, miss. That was an accident, he stammered, bowing repeatedly in embarrassment. But Amara froze. Her body stiffened, her breath caught, and she braced herself for the usual reaction. Her skin burning, her throat tightening. Yet nothing happened. No rash, no shortness of breath, no allergic reaction. For the first time in her life, a man's touch didn't hurt her. Confused and shaken, Amara avoided Jin-ho for the rest of the flight, but her mind kept replaying the moment. Why him? Why no reaction? When the plane landed, she tried to disappear into the crowd, but Jin-ho found her at baggage claim. He bowed again, his voice gentle. Please, let me apologize properly. I didn't mean to embarrass you. Something in his sincerity softened her. Against her usual instincts, she agreed to coffee at the airport cafe. There, for the first time, she confessed her secret, her lifelong allergy to men. Jin-ho listened, not with pity but with quiet wonder. Then, maybe I'm the exception, he said with a hesitant smile. Their paths kept crossing. Jin-ho began requesting routes that matched Amara's travel schedule, and Amara found herself oddly comforted by his presence. Where every other man felt like danger, Jin-ho felt like safety. Still, she resisted. I don't know how to love. I've never even kissed anyone properly before. I'm still untouched. Jin-ho didn't pressure her. Instead, he brought patience, respect, and small acts of kindness. Waiting outside her hotel to make sure she got in safely, sending her little souvenirs from different cities, calling just to hear her voice. Bit by bit, Amara's fear melted into trust, and trust blossomed into feelings she had thought impossible. One evening, in Paris during his layover, they walked along the Seine. Amara's heart pounded, not from fear, but from a yearning she had never dared to embrace. She looked up at Jin-ho and whispered, trembling, Maybe my allergy wasn't to men. Maybe it was to everyone who wasn't meant for me. Jin-ho cupped her face gently, waiting for her permission. When she nodded, he kissed her. Softly, deliberately this time. Her body didn't rebel. Instead, it felt like fire and freedom all at once. What began as a humiliating accident turned into the love story neither of them expected. Amara, once terrified of intimacy, found in Jin-ho the man who broke her walls without breaking her soul. And Jin-ho, who never believed in fate, found himself living proof that sometimes destiny arrives at 30,000 feet in the air, sealed with an accidental kiss. After that fateful flight, Jin-ho couldn't stop thinking about Amara. But life as a flight attendant was fast-paced. New cities, new passengers, new schedules. His co-workers, noticing his absent-minded smiles, teased him mercilessly. "Yeah, Jin-ho, who's the girl?" asked Hyejin, a fellow flight attendant and his closest friend. He tried to deny it, but the blush on his face gave him away. Rumors spread among the crew about Jin-ho having a secret girlfriend. Meanwhile, Amara's family back home in Washington, D.C., noticed changes in her. Her younger sister Naomi teased her over the phone. "You keep smiling for no reason. Don't tell me. You actually like someone? Amara hesitated. How could she explain that the man she was falling for was the only man she wasn't allergic to? Despite their growing bond, Amara was afraid. One evening, after Jin-ho confessed, "I think I'm falling for you," she panicked. "You don't understand. What if one day my allergy comes back? What if I'm just broken and you're wasting your time?" Jin-ho looked at her with steady eyes. "Then I'll still stay. Even if I can only hold your hand once a month, or only walk beside you without touching, that's enough for me. Because it's you." His words carved a place in her heart, but her fear didn't vanish overnight. Not everyone was supportive Hygiene, though Jin-ho's friend began feeling jealous. She had secretly liked him for years, and seeing him so devoted to Amara sparked bitterness. She whispered to other crew members, "She's just a passenger. This won't last." Amara's father, Mr. Johnson, a strict man who had always feared his daughter's condition would make her vulnerable, was skeptical. "A flight attendant? He lives in the sky, Amara. How can he give you stability?" Amara felt torn between her growing love and the voices warning her to be cautious. One day, Amara's condition did flare up when a male business partner shook her hand unexpectedly at a conference. She collapsed, struggling to breathe. Jin-ho, who had flown in to surprise her, rushed to her side. Doctors explained it was indeed a psychosomatic condition triggered by fear and distrust. But curiously, Jin-ho remained the only man who did not provoke it. Lying in the hospital bed, Amara wept. "Do you see now? I'm cursed. You deserve someone normal." Jin-ho took her trembling hand, his voice firm. "No, you're not cursed, you're rare. And maybe I was put in your life because I was meant to be the cure." Weeks later, Jin-ho introduced Amara to his family in Seoul. At first, his mother worried, "A foreign girl? With such a condition?" But seeing the way Amara's smile softened Jin-ho's face, she relented. Meanwhile, Amara's father visited Jin-ho during one of his layovers. He expected to find a careless young man, but instead found Jin-ho studying American culture, practicing Amara's favorite hymns on the guitar, and saving money for a stable future. Slowly, Mr. Johnson's walls began to crumble. Back in Paris, on the same bridge where Amara had first allowed herself to be kissed, she finally let go of her fear. "Jin-ho," she whispered, "I don't care about my allergy anymore. You're the only medicine I'll ever need." This time she kissed him first, deep, sure, and free. For the first time, she wasn't just surviving. She was living. The accidental kiss that began as humiliation became a story of patience, healing, and love across worlds. Jin-ho learned that true devotion wasn't measured by perfection but persistence. Amara discovered that her allergy wasn't a curse. It was destiny's way of guiding her to the only man who could touch her heart without breaking it. And together, they proved that sometimes, love doesn't arrive when we're ready. It arrives when we least expect it, like turbulence at 30,000 feet. After that kiss in Paris, Amara and Jin-ho officially became a couple. Their love was passionate, but it came with new challenges. Jin-ho's unpredictable flight schedule meant they sometimes went weeks without seeing each other. Amara's condition still lingered with other men, making her cautious in public. Yet, every reunion felt like fireworks. But love stories are never without storms. Hygiene, the flight attendant who secretly loved Jin-ho, grew more restless. Every time she saw him smiling at his phone, she felt invisible. One night, during a layover in Dubai, she confronted him. "Jin-ho, why her? She's a passenger, a stranger. I've been beside you all these years. Don't you see me?" Jin-ho sighed. "Hygiene, you're a good friend. But love isn't about who's closest. It's about who's meant for you. And my heart only beats for Amara." Hygiene's eyes welled with tears. From that night, she became colder, spreading quiet rumors about Amara to other crew members. Back in Washington, Amara introduced Jin-ho to her family properly. Naomi, her younger sister, adored him instantly, but her father still stood firm. "You'll hurt her, young man. She's fragile." Jin-ho bowed respectfully. "Sir, with all due respect, Amara is stronger than you think." She fights every day against fear, and she's teaching me more courage than I've ever known." His sincerity touched Mrs. Johnson, who began to support them, though Mr. Johnson remained distant. Months later, Amara secured a new job as a project manager, which required working with several men. At first, she dreaded the interactions. The allergy struck during her first meeting, her skin reddening and throat tightening. But Jin-ho flew in overnight just to hold her hand afterward. "You don't have to be cured to be loved," he whispered. "Let me be the one safe place where you don't have to fight." Those words gave her the courage to keep pushing forward. Slowly, she began to face her fears, one step at a time. Jin-ho knew he wanted to spend his life with her. One winter evening, on a flight Amara happened to be on, he arranged something special. As the plane cruised above the clouds, he walked down the aisle with trembling hands and a small velvet box. The other passengers, already clued in by his co-workers, turned their heads as he knelt by Amara's seat. "Amara Johnson, you were the accident I never knew I needed. You are my calm in turbulence, my anchor on every flight. Will you marry me?" Tears streamed down her face. She laughed nervously, then whispered, "Yes, yes, I will." The cabin erupted in cheers. Their wedding was small, blending Korean and African-American traditions. Amara's father, though hesitant, walked her down the aisle, whispering, "If he makes you this brave, then I trust him." Married life was not without its struggles. Amara still couldn't interact freely with most men, and Jin-ho's travels often left her lonely. But their bond only grew stronger. Jin-ho adjusted his routes, prioritizing flights that allowed him more time at home. Amara continued therapy, encouraged by his unwavering support. One day, while hosting a family gathering, Amara realized something incredible. She shook her cousin's husband's hand without breaking into hives. Her condition was slowly improving, not because it vanished, but because love had given her the courage to fight it. Looking back years later, Amara would often laugh. All it took was turbulence and an accidental kiss, and Jin-ho would answer, pulling her close, "No, all it took was destiny disguised as clumsiness." Together, they proved that love is not about perfection. It is about finding the one person who makes your scars feel like stars. The first year of marriage was a whirlwind. Amara moved to Seoul, adjusting to the fast-paced city life and the expectations of Jin-ho's traditional parents. His mother adored her kindness but worried about her condition. "Can you raise children if you cannot be close to men other than my son?" she asked one afternoon. Amara bit her lip. She had asked herself the same question. But Jin-ho squeezed her hand. "She's stronger than anyone I know. We'll face that bridge together." A few months later, Amara discovered she was pregnant. Fear and joy mingled in her chest. Could she protect her child from her strange condition? What if she couldn't even touch her son if he was born a boy? Jin-ho knelt, pressing his ear against her belly. "Don't be afraid. Our child will know love from the moment they breathe. And you'll surprise yourself." When their son, Eun-jae, was born, Amara cried harder than anyone in the room. She touched his tiny hands with trembling fingers, and nothing happened. No rash, no reaction, only warmth. For the first time, she realized her body was healing in ways her mind hadn't believed possible. But outside their home, challenges brewed. Hygiene, now bitter, spread gossip that Amara had trapped Jin-ho with a baby to keep him grounded. Some co-workers whispered behind his back, mocking him for marrying a foreigner. Back in Washington, Amara's father struggled to connect with his Korean son-in-law, insisting Jin-ho should find a stable desk job instead of running around the world. Torn between two cultures, Amara sometimes broke down in tears. "I don't fit in fully here and I don't fit in fully back home. What if I never belong anywhere?" Jin-ho kissed her forehead gently. "You belong with me, and I belong with you. That's our home." As years passed, Amara slowly overcame her phobia. With therapy, motherhood, and Jin-ho's constant support, her body stopped reacting to most men. She could now greet neighbors, shake hands at meetings, and even hug her father without collapsing. One evening, while watching Eun-jae play with his toy plane, Amara leaned against Jin-ho's shoulder. "Do you realize?" she whispered. "The girl who thought she could never be touched now holds the world in her hands." Jin-ho smiled. "And I'm still the clumsy guy who kissed the wrong passenger." Years later, on their anniversary, they took a family flight to Paris, the city of their first kiss. As the plane soared, Amara laughed when turbulence shook the cabin. "Careful, Jin-ho," she teased. "You might kiss another stranger." He pulled her close, whispering, "Never. You're the only turbulence I'll ever love." Their love, born from an accident in the sky, had weathered storms, jealous whispers, cultural clashes, and personal fears. And now, it shone brighter than ever, proof that sometimes the greatest love stories begin with a mistake that was never a mistake at all. Years later, Jin-ho and Amara sat together on a quiet porch in Washington, watching their son Eunjae chase fireflies in the yard. Their love had already weathered turbulence, suspicion, jealousy, and doubt. What had begun as an accidental kiss in the sky had grown into a family rooted in trust and devotion. Amara often thought back to the girl she once was, fragile, fearful, and convinced that love was not for her. She smiled now, knowing she had been wrong. Love had not only healed her condition, but also her spirit. Jin-ho, still playful despite the silver streaks now touching his hair, nudged her shoulder. "Do you ever regret sitting in seat 24B that day?" She laughed softly, her eyes glistening. "No. That seat was the beginning of my forever." Their son ran up to them, clutching a firefly in his little hands. "Mommy, Daddy, look, I caught the light." Jin-ho and Amara exchanged a glance. Felt symbolic. They had both spent their lives chasing light, she from fear, he from loneliness. Thanks for watching. If you enjoy the story, please leave a comment, also like, share, and subscribe to my channel, and click on the notification icon so that you will be notified when the new video is uploaded.